and welcome to this fantastic session that we have put together for you this Friday lunchtime. We are excited, we're in a great mood. Please type on the chat where you're joining us from, because we understand that everybody is in Naivasha this weekend, Vash City. So if you're coming in from somewhere else, please type in the chat. Let's see where you are joining us from this afternoon. Where are you all at, good people? Talk to us as we serve you a hot lunch of leadership excellence, coming right from the kitchen at Springboard Capital. Karibu. This is what we do at Springboard Capital. We serve fine meals and we're in a fine dining experience. Welcome. Put on your seatbelts. This ride is ready to roll. I confirm we are not riding in a Subaru. No, we are not riding in a Subaru. We are riding in a Rolls Royce, in a Bugatti, in one of those limousines, you know, those long, fine vehicles. That's what we are riding in this afternoon. We bring you these BizSmart webinars to empower you, to educate you, to inform you, to feed you so that we can go out and create a wonderful nation of empowered entrepreneurs and business people who can turn things around and do business in a way that promotes greatness in this land. We've had various other webinars and we will post on the WhatsApp group. No, it's not a WhatsApp group. It's a WhatsApp broadcast. It's not a group, I assure you. There'll be no crazy words in there and things like that. So please put on the chat, our marketing team, the WhatsApp broadcast. If you want information about previous webinars that we have had, we will post it there for your consumption. We've talked about taxes and how to manage that. You know, it's tax season right now, so you really do want to plug into that webinar. We've talked about compliance. We've talked about holistic wellness. And the coach told us, the legendary running coach told us that if you're not well, your business will not run well. We've talked about people and branding and finances. And we are just bringing to you this afternoon a hot dish of leadership excellence. Because for sure, if you don't lead well, your business is not going to run well. So we must lead well. Let me introduce to you our speaker this afternoon. Our speaker is tuning in all the way from Pretoria. Oltesh comes all the way from Pretoria. So Oltesh Tobias is a prolific author, speaker, mentor, inspirer, coach, all the big words that you can use for somebody who loves to develop other people. And the greatest gift you can give to somebody else is to develop them, to inspire them, to inform them, to educate them, to coach them, to hold their hands. It is said that successful leaders are those that reach down and pull others up. I can confirm to you that Oltesh has been one of those who continuously pull others up. He has a great experience speaking across multitudes and multitudes of audiences, both within his country, where he's residing right now in South Africa, his original country, which is Tanzania, his recent country that he's exited, which is Kenya, and across the world in Europe and the Americas and the South Americas. So what's coming to you is a very seasoned international speaker. He's very passionate about mentorship, passionate about the youth. He's written fantastic books. He has his book From Campus to the Boardroom is something that each and every one of you must have in your hands and must place in the hands of every young person so that they can rise above their youthful spirit, use that spirit to soar into greatness from campus to the boardroom. And the boardroom is a corporate boardroom, an entrepreneurial boardroom, a self-development boardroom, a consulting boardroom. So please make sure you get a copy of that book. And more about Oltesh is on his website, olteshtobias.com. And our marketing team will post that in the chat so that you can go in there and interact with Oltesh. So Oltesh, this afternoon, I don't know if it's afternoon on your side as well, and people tuning in from the rest of the world, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening. At this time, particular time, I'd like to invite Oltesh, who's our key chef for the day, expert chefs, to serve us this wonderful meal of leadership for business excellence. Leadership excellence for business and leadership for business excellence. Over to you, Oltesh. Take it away.
Good afternoon, Carol. Good afternoon, everyone. Those who are joining from different parts of the world, from Kenya, from diaspora, from Thika Road, from Feather Estate. Let me say this. I always like and I always enjoy to be in the midst of wonderful people. And the reason I like that is together we grow. But if you stay alone in silos, you'll just be growing, but you'll not really be growing in a sustainable way. This is the best way to spend my afternoon, my Friday afternoon. By the way, for me, every day is a Friday. So on Monday, I say Friday -4. On Tuesday, I say Friday -3. So today is the real Friday. What a conversation. Leadership. But when I think about leadership, the first thing that comes to my mind is when I was young in this small village in Arusha. And I grew up in a home where the toilet is outside, the bathroom is outside, the kitchen is outside. So literally you just go into the house to sleep, but all the activities would take place outside. We did not have piped water. So we had to walk across the valley to fetch some water and use it for different purposes in the house. But one thing that I remember most about fetching water is this natural spring, the source of water that I like to go almost every day. I would go there to drink water, and that water was so fresh that when you drink it, it won't even go through the food system. It goes straight into your bloodstream. That spring water was so fresh. When you take a shower, you just feel energetic. And I did not enjoy this water alone. A lot of people would come there, wash their clothing, feed their cows and goats and different animals. They would also come there to hang out and sometimes also to swim. It was a source of life. It was a to-go-to place when you just felt that you wanted to go out and hang around, other people, just like the way we're hanging around each other today. And when I think about that spring today, I look at it as a source of life, as a source of energy, as a source of rejuvenation. Then I look at leaders around the room this afternoon. All of you remind me of that spring. Because as a leader of your business, as a leader of your family, as a leader of your community, as a leader of your organization, when reports, when those who depend on you experience challenges and problems, where do they go to? They come to you because you're like a spring to them. You're a leader. You're the to-go-to person where they can come and draw wisdom and strength and hope and guidance. So as we engage in this conversation today, I want you to think of that natural spring. And I want you to start living. I would encourage you to start living some of the examples that I'm going to share with you today, because if there's anything that we need during this time of crisis, it's leadership. So what is it that you need to do to stay as the source of energy, as the source of encouragement to those around you? I'm reminded of a book that I read several years ago, and I've kept a copy since. It was written by one of my mentors, coaches, John Maxwell, titled 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And the first chapter of that book, the first law in that book is the law of the lead. And John Maxwell says, your leadership lead determines your success. And he always shares these examples when you talk to us. He says, if your leadership lead, for example, is a 7, right? Your ability to lead cannot supersede, cannot go beyond your leadership lead. And he therefore said, if you want to increase your level of success, you also need to raise your leadership lead. In other words, if I was to give you an example, you have 100 kilos of rice. You need a weighing scale that can measure that kind of weight. You cannot get a weighing scale of 90 kilos to measure 100 kilos. Likewise, if you want an output of 100, for sure, you need to have ability of accommodating more than 100. And John Maxwell has shared a lot of ideas on how to do that. And the first thing, interestingly, that he shared is, he said, read or listen to books, invest in yourself by attending and promoting seminars, workshops, or webinars. Can we clap for ourselves? This is exactly what we are doing here. So what you're doing is you're raising your leadership lead. Practice leadership by taking on new challenges to intentionally grow yourself. And there's another one which is really interesting, and I see Carol leads this a lot. It says, add value to others by volunteering to mentor, give speech or presentations, write articles, or share your experiences. And that's powerful. And this one is really interesting. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. If we can go back to that spring is still running till today. And people are still drawing water from that spring. And the reason we keep going back to that spring is it keeps feeding us. Now, as a leader, during this time of crisis and challenges, we need to make sure that when people come to us, we are able to give them, we are able to feed them. But it does not end there. Raising that lead, doing everything that I've shared today here, does not necessarily give 100% of the support that is required of you. So the second one is, as a leader, you need to know the way. You need to show the way, and you need to walk the way. Did I say that? You need to know the way, you need to show the way, and you need to walk the way. In other words, as a leader, you need to have the intuition. And if you don't have the intuition, then you need to create one for you to see far before those who depend on you can see. For you to predict the future before those who are looking up to you can see that future. When Mother Teresa decided to leave the church, he saw poverty. He could see that there are some individuals who need me more than probably the church. So he saw it and he knew it. We've also seen a lot of leaders, even within Africa, who make decisions and at the onset, people don't understand them. But later on, they get to know and say, actually, this is now making sense. It's because they know the way, they show the way, and they walk the way. Now, as a leader, if you want to continue being that spring, make sure that you gather knowledge. Make sure that you are aware of what is going on in the market, in your industry, in your organization, even among your employees, so that you can make yourself available to provide the knowledge, to provide the advice, to provide the inputs, to provide the strategy that would sustainably keep the company going through different challenges of its journey. Now, we're good with the leadership lead. We have seen the way, we have shown the way, and we have walked the way. We are not done. Because remember, as a spring, there are a lot of things, there are a lot of people that you need to feed and support, and you need to support them in different ways. The third element is you need to be big on the inside. Now, as leaders, I would just like, let us, I know this is not common, and I like, Pauline, when you say, you know what, you actually don't need to be common. It's not easy. I completely agree. But leadership is not a walk on the park. Leadership, I remember I was talking to parents and their children, and I asked the same question. Do you know what the children said? 7 years, 8 years old. They said, Uncle Oltesh, of course I will bribe the police. But do you know what? They saw it somewhere. They saw it from their parents. And they think that is the way to do things. Buy your way. So as leaders, let us be big on the inside. Not because the president is sitting behind you. Because remember, if you're a person of faith, you know that there's always something who's bigger than president watching over your shoulder. So we're actually not any safe whether someone is watching or not. But the challenge and the conversation that I would like us to start really looking at is, let us try and be big on the inside. Even if it is uphill all the way, let us try to adapt the Pauline's way. And I've tried it, and it does work. Because one thing, what will happen is you will, of course, say, I will never cross the traffic light. And therefore, you will be working your way out before you get to that spot. Now, if we have to leave the traffic for a moment, as a leader, and given the current situation, I would also encourage that nature, the environment, the market that we operate in keeps shifting. It's quite turbulent and it is never stable. And therefore, it is important for us to adapt. And how do we adapt? We need to, first of all, maintain what we call a positive life stance, where you wake up in the morning, you don't have money in your pocket, it is windy, it is cold, it is gloomy. You're not even sure when is your next meal going to come? Where am I going to get the school fees for the children? But I can tell you, if you adapt by maintaining a positive stance, then you will be able to walk through the adversities. And it is important because we are talking to leaders here. We are talking to heads of families. We are talking to heads of communities. We are talking to heads of organizations. And therefore, you adapting, you doing the right thing will send signals to those behind you. And this is why, if you remember in the old days, even today, when a famous person starts dressing in a certain way, people start following. So as a leader, when you start dressing or behaving in a certain way, Those who depend, those who are looking up to you will start following without you saying anything. So it is really important that you adapt. And this is why, for example, during the COVID seasons, some restaurants closed, but some restaurants changed into drive-through. There's a restaurant that I visited recently. They introduced not a drive-through, they introduced what they call a drive-in. They got this big parking lot, and you go there, they take your order in the car, they bring your meal, and you eat it in the car with your family. And like that, you're protected. So we need to adapt. We just need to keep thinking on different ways. We are on Zoom today because we have adapted, but we are on Zoom because someone saw this before it happened. And this is why it was easy for us to switch into this environment today. So we need to adapt. But most importantly, as a leader, we also need to really, really focus. And during this time of crisis, we will have a lot of distractions. We will have a lot of opportunities. I remember one of my friends shared of an organization that approached Branson. And they told him, Branson, can you come and speak to us? And we will pay you $250,000. And Branson said no. And then they waited for a few days, and then they went back to him. We will pay $500,000, and this is dollars. This is $500,000 US. Can you come and speak to us? And he said no. They went to $750,000, and he said no. They went up to $1 million. He still said no. And I know most of us, if one would pay you $1 million to go and speak, you will just start, going for retirement before you even take up that opportunity. But Branson said no. And later on, when he was asked, he said, it was not on my plan. When Jack Ma was interviewed, he said he get more than, I don't know, was it 700,000 or 7,000 business ideas every day? And he says no to them. As a leader, if you want to be that river, that spring, that we can depend on, that we can always go for support and help and advice and assistance, you need to focus. Because if you're not focused, every time we come to you, we will not find you. And therefore, for us to be able to draw the support from you as a leader, for us to get the assistance that we need and the advice, and I'm not only talking about advice, but correct advice, you need to be available. You need to focus on your core business so that when opportunities come looking for you, they will find you. So focus is really, really important. And the last aspect that I want to talk to you about this afternoon is, and I had a look at this for several years. And what I realized is, as human beings, we are very resilient. But it does not come just like that. It has to be tested. This is why if you want to process gold, it has to go through fire. You also need to give yourself an opportunity to go through fire, so that if you come out the other side, then you know that I'm good. But if you don't, then you can go back to number one, to really work on your lead so that you can emerge as even a better leader. Now, allow adversity to help you. Allow adversity to challenge you and test you and try you. And we have seen this. Mandela allowed 27 years of adversity to test him. And we have several leaders, even in our continents, even in the current governments, where they were asked to bend things. We even had an example during this discussion. When that police stops you, allow that adversity to test you and see what is going to happen. Use your persuasion power as indicated by police. If they don't work, then go through the court system. I've allowed adversity to test me severally, including paying a hefty fine, going through the court system and being fined, but I learned my lesson. I allowed adversity to teach me. Now, as a leader, if you allow adversity to teach you, if you allow adversity to test you, then you will have a testimony. The thing is, you can only have a testimony if you pass the test. And tests that are given to us, the adversities that we go through on day-to-day basis are there to really give us the strength and the energy and the experience and the skills that we need for us to lead those who are looking up to us. If we can go back to that spring in my village, let us just remember that that spring, when it is raining, it is always flowing. When it is dry, it is always flowing. When there is too much dust, it is always flowing. When people are taking a bath and the cows are feeding and people are washing their clothing, it is always flowing. And as a leader, you need to be there. You need to always be flowing. And how are you going to do that? You're going to do that by raising your lead. You're going to do that by knowing the way, showing the way, going the way. You're going to do that by being big on the inside. You're going to do that by adapting. You're going to do that by staying focused. And you're going to do that by allowing adversity to test you so that you have a testimony. I wish you all the best as you continue being the spring, as you continue being the source of life, as you continue being the source of power and energy and enthusiasm and hope to those who depend on you.
And for rising to the conversation around leadership, which we are tying in this afternoon with Oltesh. Oltesh, allow us to say thank you to you. Thank you very much for your words of wisdom. We don't have enough time to drink all of it, but you have planted the seed. We promise to nurture the seed, water it, grow it, and ensure that we lead our businesses well and lead ourselves well, and as a result, lead this nation well. Your words have not fallen on dry ground, they've fallen on very fertile ground as watered by the spring in your village. We shall be exactly like the spring in your village. So we are taking that away with us. Thank you very much. We honor you for taking your time and for being here. Team on this call, Oltesh is a very busy man. He has a great position at the African Development Bank, no doubt. We are not just playing local, we are playing international. And for him to come and grace this occasion and talk to us and share his words of wisdom is not for granted. And to end this lunch at exactly 2 o'clock, which it is, I want to tell you that if you need any money, do not look anywhere else but at Springboard Capital. Oltesh, if you need money to buy a Subaru, to go to Naivasha, you come over here and we shall give you money. We are very friendly, happy people. If you need money for any kind of development, for your business, if your relatives or friends need financing, please come to us. So everybody here, please do come to us for your financing needs. So Oltesh, we want to wish you well where you are. Be blessed, and may your words continue to nurture and grow others as you share them and share of yourself. For everybody else here, have a good Friday afternoon. Have a beautiful and brilliant weekend ahead as you think about leadership excellence and how you can be that spring of life for other people. So bye and have a good afternoon, and thank you and all the best.